What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today I have a story time from way back in the day when I was in elementary school. Alright, it has to do with this dude that I thought was a little bit out there, pretty cringe. It's more entertaining than anything. I'm sure dude grew up to be relatively normal, but I just thought the story was entertaining because he really thought he was invisible and started doing a bunch of stupid stuff in our class, just committed maximum cringe. And I figured it would be a story time you guys would enjoy, so yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so I think everybody knows that when you're in elementary school, you tend to just kind of get to know everyone in your class. You're in the same room with them for like 6 hours a day. Your teacher's always making you guys like, alright, we're gonna play teamwork with the class, you know? And there was one guy in particular that everybody in the class, they didn't dislike him, it just wasn't super awesome to play games with him or be in a group with him for anything, because he was insanely bossy and just thought he was the smartest person to ever exist, you know? One of those people where like if you're talking to them about anything, they're just always correcting you. He would always change the rules of whatever game you were playing. If you were working in a group with him, he would put the wrong answers down because he was so confident he was right. And even in elementary school, everyone was like, bruh, working with this dude just kinda sucks. And like I said, no one was mean to him. It wasn't like people would give him any issues. He would just start fights all the time because he was always insulting people's intelligence. He'd be like, you guys are morons, you know? And overall, people just started kind of avoiding him because he was just not that pleasant to be around at the time. One day, though, I was out on the playground going up to like the monkey bar area, and we were in 4th grade at the time, so the only people that were older than us in the school were the 5th graders, obviously. And as I'm walking up to the monkey bars, I hear a conversation between this dude and one of the older kids, a 5th grader. And I'm gonna name the really cringy kid Jerry just because his personality kind of reminded me of like Jerry from Rick and Morty. Not to be cringe and do a Rick and Morty reference, but just a whiny person that thinks they're way smarter than they are, that type of vibe. And I hear the 5th grader telling Jerry that like, no, this is a quality invisibility potion, it'll turn you invisible, it's just $20. And I hear Jerry being like, alright dude, last time your potion worked, so I'm gonna buy this one. And obviously that piques my interest a little bit, so I look over and I see this 5th grader holding a like mini water bottle that had the label filled off. Or peeled off, sorry, not filled off. And it's filled with like a red Kool-Aid fruit punch looking thing. And he is telling Jerry that if he drinks it, he will turn invisible. And obviously, I don't have to point this out to a lot of individuals watching this, hopefully. Even 4th grade me could pick up on how stupid this was. It's not gonna turn you invisible. And $20 to a 4th grader is quite a chunk of change. You know, it's still a solid chunk of change. But at the time, $20 is basically $1 billion. You're like, hey man, that's a video game. That's a Nerf gun. Are you kidding me? There's so many things I could buy with $20. So I decide to be at least what I think was nice to Jerry, and I say, hey Jerry, don't buy that, it's not gonna turn you invisible. And I wasn't trying to be a smart aleck, I wasn't trying to put myself where I didn't belong, but I just really didn't want to see this dude get ripped off by this 5th grader and spend $20 to drink some fruit punch that wasn't gonna turn him invisible. And you would think maybe he would either say, oh, I know, I'm not gonna buy it, or like, oh, thanks man, you really think so? Something along those lines. You can't really be mad if someone's trying to prevent you from being scammed. But Jerry was very, very upset that I had mentioned that. And he starts going off to me that obviously I don't know anything about magic, and he's bought potions from this dude before, and they've worked, so I just need to shut up and mind my business. And I'm kind of taken aback because I'm like confused as to how he's bought a magic potion from this 5th grader that's worked before. Maybe in Delusionville, but like there's no way it actually did. And on top of that, man, like mind my business. Okay, fine, I will mind my business and you can waste your money. And so I decide to just be like, all right, dude, fine, do whatever you want, because he's gonna yell at me and be a whiny little baby about it. So I just say, okay, dude, but don't be surprised if this invisibility potion doesn't work. There's no way it's actually magic. And he says something again about how I'm an idiot. And at that point, I just decide to go to the monkey bars and mind my business as requested by Mr. Jerry. And as I'm going on the monkey bars, I overhear them, and the 5th grader's like, what was that guy's problem? And, you know, Jerry responds, I don't know, but here's your money. And I didn't see the transaction, but sure enough, next time I saw Jerry, he has this little bottle of Kool-Aid fruit punch. and is just sipping on it, clearly with a smile on his face, thinking that he's about to turn invisible, probably have the craziest prank day in United States history, going down in the history books next to William Howard Taft getting stuck in the bathtub. Regardless, recess ends and we all start going back into class, and even though he's drinking the potion, I can still see Jerry. I don't know if it's just because I'm so smart that I can see through invisibility potions, or maybe, smarter explanation, the invisibility potion didn't work. Either way, it becomes obvious that Jerry is pretty confident that he's invisible, because the way he's walking back into class, the way he's doing things, is the way you would move if you're trying to be sneaky. I don't know if that makes any sense, but he's kind of like crouched down at his knees, pressed up against the wall, looking like James Bond trying to sneak around a school for some reason. And everyone's just kind of looking at him because it's a little bit weird. And somebody asks, like, Jerry, what are you doing? And you would think at that point it might click that he's not invisible. If you're invisible, people wouldn't be looking at you doing something weird and asking you why you're doing something weird. They wouldn't know you're there. But Jerry doesn't answer the question. He just goes silent and stops and just kind of like freezes. And the person who asked him the question didn't really care enough to ask anymore, so they just kept walking. But somehow in Jerry's mind, that confirmed that he was invisible. Because as soon as he stopped moving, the person kept walking. So he's starting to get confident that this magic potion worked. And I don't know how you're dumb enough to believe that a magic potion turns you invisible, alright? Unless there's like a bunch of people messing with you. I've seen that dude on the Netflix magic show, Magic for Humans. And he convinced some people they were invisible, but he had 50 people in on it. He had like taken pictures of them to make them look invisible, like the exact same place they would take a picture. He had taken one earlier and it was empty, so he would show them that. Like, you know, he had 50 people in on convincing these people they're invisible. Not for Jerry, man. You just apparently have to literally drink the Kool-Aid. Next thing you know, you're like trying to be invisible in the middle of a class. And hypothetically, bro, let's say for 1 second we're living in the world of Harry Potter. We're all pulling up to Hogwarts next year. Invisibility potions are a thing. Indivisibility potion? I don't know what I was going for there. Invisibility potions are a thing. Why would you want to use it at school? Like, if I had a magic potion that was gonna turn me invisible, hypothetically, I wouldn't be wasting that in class. Are you kidding me, dude? I'd be like, hey, I'm about to walk into this bank vault, walk out with a hefty chunk of change. Just kidding, FBI. You know, I just feel like there's much, much better things to use magic powers on than just sitting and still learning that information. Regardless, we get into class and Jerry is pretty confident he's still invisible, and he's sitting in his chair with this like devious look on his face. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm paying attention because I'm aware of the fact that he now thinks he's invisible. I don't think anybody else had really caught on to it yet. And our teacher, she was an okay teacher. She wasn't somebody that the class necessarily loved, but we also didn't hate her. But you know, we didn't love her to the point where if somebody messed with her, we were gonna like snitch on a student. And at this point, Jerry had drank all the potions, so he had the little water bottle. And so our teacher had turned around to start writing something on the board, and Jerry threw it at her and it hit her on the back. And when it hit her, a couple kids had started laughing, including Jerry, so I'm sure the teacher wasn't able to really figure out where it had come from. Because like, if just one kid laughs, it's pretty easy. If a bunch of people laugh, anyone could have thrown it. But she turns around, obviously not too thrilled with it, and kind of starts to yell at us. Class, do you really think it's appropriate to be throwing things at the teacher? Do you think that's appropriate? I thought that this was a class with old kids that were big kids. Big kids don't throw things at the teacher. And obviously everyone's kind of like rolling their eyes because whatever, but everyone's still kind of laughing a little bit. But this makes Jerry think that he's still invisible, because now not only has he like gotten away with someone asking him a question, but he just threw a water bottle at the teacher. She can't figure out, you know, who threw it. So his confidence starts getting up a little bit. He starts thinking that he can basically get away with anything because no one can see him. And our teacher finishes her little rant. Now, I'm gonna go back to teaching, but I better not hear or see any further inappropriate behavior. Do you guys understand? She waits for us to go like, yes. Good. And she turns back and like keeps writing on the board, you know. And as I said, nobody really loved Jerry. Like, no one hated him either, but there was one dude in particular that he had some issues with. I guess you could consider them enemies. It was more one-sided. Jerry didn't really like this dude. The guy didn't really care that much about Jerry. But I guess in his infinite wisdom, Jerry decides that while he's invisible, he might as well attack his enemy with the element of surprise on his side. There is basically no better way to surprise people than being invisible, I guess. Imagine you're just like walking down the street and a ghost starts beating you up. Yeah, that'd be pretty terrifying. What are you supposed to do? Start swinging on something you can't see? So Jerry gets up, and our teacher's in her own little world writing on the board, so she doesn't see it. And on top of it, Jerry's kind of like moving slowly, thinking that if we can hear him, but we just can't see him. So he's trying to like tiptoe, make it as quiet as possible. And he starts going up behind the guy that he kind of has had some issues with. And I'm going to name this dude Tony just because, I don't know, I feel like it. So Jerry is sneaking up on Tony. And Tony has his back to Jerry, right? So, like, he can't really see him coming. And no one at Tony's table is giving him a heads up because it's just Jerry kind of walking over to them. No one knows what he's doing, but no one really cares either. And Jerry gets right up behind Tony. And at this point, I hadn't really, seen a lot of fights in our class. It had happened before, but for the most part, no one's really dumb enough to start a fight in the middle of a class because the teacher is right there. Everyone is right there to see what happens, but because Jerry thinks he's invisible, it's the perfect crime. So he reaches back his arm for what seems to be a slap. And this isn't one of those slaps where he's just gonna gently tap him, not even a half reach back. Jerry reaches his arm back far enough that you might as well have thought he was about to swing a golf club. He's getting some momentum on this. His elbow's about to flail down with the wrath of at least 27 meteors, possibly giving Tony a concussion. Who really knows? I don't know anything about what it takes to get a concussion. Probably not. Could you imagine a fourth grader being able to slap hard enough to give people a concussion, dude? He's just gonna end up in one of those Russian slap contests where a guy the size of a bear just knocks somebody out with a slap. Anyways, Jerry has his arm reached back, and sure enough, in his confidence with his invisibility, just goes ahead and lets it fly and smacks Tony in the back of the head. And it's a loud slap, just an absolute smack. And obviously, as soon as the smack rings out, our teacher turns around and says, "What's that?" And she can see Jerry with his arm now across his head, and Tony holding the back of his head with his head down on the desk, kind of reeling from the fact that someone just slapped him in the back of the head insanely hard out of nowhere. And our teacher goes, "Jerry, did you just slap Tony?" And Jerry stays absolutely still and says nothing and just has this look on his face with a smirk like, haha, they can't see me. But he forgets the fact that Tony's probably not going to be okay with getting slapped, and this is when I think he realizes that he's not invisible, because Tony gets up, turns around, and shoves Jerry. And usually it's not like a hard enough shove to knock somebody down, but Jerry thinks he's invisible, so he's not prepared for it at all. He thought he was going to slap this dude. Absolutely nothing was going to happen as a result. He was just going to go back to his chair all invisible. And Jerry goes flying with the shove because he's not ready for it. And he ends up falling into someone else's desk. And he yells out something like, "How did you see me?" And obviously everyone in class is confused what he's asking by that, because what do you mean, how can we see you? So Tony says, "I saw you when I turned around after you slapped me in the head." And the teacher yells out again, "Jerry, what are you doing?" And Jerry starts to just stammer "You're not supposed to be able to see me. I don't understand. I'm supposed to be invisible." And the teacher is just being honest with him and asks him, "Well, how would you be invisible? That literally makes no sense. That's not something that you can do." And after Tony had shoved him, I guess he had gotten his anger out. I don't know. He didn't feel like hitting him anymore or something, because he's not really chasing after Jerry to start smacking him. He probably realized that Jerry was about to get in enough trouble because he had just smacked him in the middle of class, and the teacher knew exactly what happened, because she continues to press Jerry, being like, "Why would you smack him even if you were invisible? I can't believe you just hit a student." But while talking in the cadence of a teacher, "Jerry, is that appropriate? Do you think that that's how people solve their problems in the real world? You can just slap people? Is that what you think, Jerry?" And Jerry is still just stammering, because I think the realization of the fact that he had been scammed, it's hitting him that the other magic potion probably was fake too. It's hitting him he had just done all of this in the middle of class and is gonna get in trouble. It's hitting him that, now Tony probably wants to fight him. So he's just kind of sitting there in shock. But the teacher continues to lecture him and then says something about how she's gonna have to call the principal because obviously she can't just let him hit students in class and he's probably gonna get in a bunch of trouble. And at that point, all confidence Jerry has is gone and he starts doing what I think some fourth graders do when they get in trouble, like in big trouble. And he just starts crying, being like, I didn't mean it, please don't get the principal involved, it was an accident. And listen, I think maybe if you're playing tag or something and you accidentally smack someone, I could see saying, oh, it was an accident. Whatever, you were running, they stopped, your hand hit them harder than you expected. Okay, that's a possibility. The only issue is, Jerry, you thought you were invisible, creeped up behind the dude, reached back your arm as far as humanly possible, and smacked him on the back of the head. How do you accidentally do that? Your brain just accidentally made you get up and accidentally moved your legs over there and then accidentally made you raise your hand and smack him? That's a whole lot of accidents, and I think at that point you gotta be worried about being brainwashed or something. I accidentally lost control of my body for 27 minutes. Anyways, our teacher calls the principal, he comes down and gets Jerry, takes him to the office, and I don't really know the exact conversation that went down in the principal's office because I wasn't there. But what I do know is that instead of snitching on the 5th grader that had sold him the fake potion, Jerry decided to convince the principal that he had gotten the idea from Harry Potter, like, you know, his invisibility cloak. And listen, man, I'm not pro snitching. That being said, if somebody sells you a fake invisibility potion for $20 and then you get in trouble, I don't know. I'd probably tell the principal, this dude sold me the potion, he sold me other ones, he's taking kids' money. Cause you ripped me off, bro. Like, come on, man. Yeah, you're still stupid for thinking you're invisible. Like, that's a really dumb thing to do. I don't know how you can really defend that. But also, the dude did scam you. Like, he did just straight up sell you a fake potion, but nah, blame Harry Potter instead. And the only reason we know that he blamed Harry Potter is because the next day, our teacher had to remove all the Harry Potter books from, like, our little in-class library and had to give us this speech about how not everything we read is real, which I think most of us knew that, maybe not Jerry, but like, I don't think many of the people in that class were thinking that Harry Potter was real and we all had magical powers, just because it's pretty obvious to anyone with a brain that's not what was going on here. But our teacher had to give us this speech and I still remember it because it was so absurd. Remember, class, just because you read something doesn't mean it's reality. Even if you read in Harry Potter that you have the ability to turn invisible, you don't, okay? Books are fiction. Remember when we learned that? Fiction, non-fiction. Fiction means it's not real. Please don't take things you read in books and think it's reality. And I love that she had to give the speech to the entire class, you know? I hate how they do that in school. Because it's like, listen, there's only one of us that was dumb enough to apparently think that Harry Potter was real. I don't know why you have to give all 27 of us the speech. I get it. We don't want to single kids out. Well, maybe if the dude is thinking magic is real and drinking invisibility potions and smacking people, you single him out. You don't lecture all of us because it's just absurd. I was aware of the fact that it's not real. I also love that they took Harry Potter out of the class. They're like, well, now that it's inspiring these kids to fight each other, we just got to get rid of them. And I'm not even a giant Harry Potter fan. I don't want it to come across like I'm one of these people on TikTok that thinks I'm going different universes and stuff. I've read the books one time in like the 3rd grade. And that being said, it's just so funny that they really bought that what was causing the problem, you know? Oh yeah, let's just get rid of the book. Imagine getting rid of Captain Underpants because a kid thinks he's a superhero and like launches himself off the playground. That's that kid's problem. It's not Captain Underpants' fault. Anyways, on top of getting it banned and getting us a nice little speech, he also did get suspended for a few days. And you would think after he came back from suspension, he would have really realized that this entire potion thing wasn't real. He had spent a bunch of his money getting scammed. But ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not, there was another day about a week after this incident, so he's back from suspension, and I'm on the playground going back up to the monkey bars because I enjoyed it. And I kid you not, I'm listening to this conversation and I look and it's the same 5th grader selling Jerry another magic potion. This one was supposed to make him taller. And I kid you not, I see Jerry take the $10 bill out of his pocket and hand it to the dude that's selling the potions. And at that moment, I realized that there's no saving Jerry. I don't know what you could have possibly done. If you get scammed one time, I guess kind of shame on you for not realizing it, but whatever, maybe you're just naive. You didn't realize the person's scamming you. I don't know. But you buy a fake potion from a snake oil salesman and it doesn't work and you end up getting suspended and getting in a bunch of trouble for it. Call me crazy, I would not buy another one. You know, I understand a lot of you guys are probably disagreeing because, hey, what if it is magic? I know a lot of you guys aren't disagreeing. Don't worry, I don't think you're stupid. But still, how are you going to fall for that again, Jerry? All right? How are you going to fall for that again? Anyways, I don't say anything because last time I said something, I was an idiot and apparently needed to mind my business. So I mind my business this time too. I'm not going to tell you you're getting scammed again because clearly the first time didn't work. But after he walks away, I go up to the dude selling the potions and I'm like, I don't want a potion, okay? I know it doesn't work, but can I ask how many people you're selling potions to? Like, how often does this work? And for some reason, he's really honest with me and he says, I've definitely sold a lot of potions to people, but usually after the first one doesn't work, they're mad at me and they don't buy another one. Jerry's the only person who keeps buying them. Which, like, listen, obviously, it's kind of a crappy move to be scamming anyone for any amount of money, okay? Even if it's just once. Still not cool. That being said, does go to show that Jerry really was not learning his lesson if he's literally the only person at our entire school who did this. Also kind of weird that there were multiple people at our school at the time that really thought you could just buy magic potions on the playground that would work, even if it was one time. But I digress. Like, it was just mind-blowing to realize that this dude was making a crap ton off Jerry. I don't advocate for it. Guy was still a douche for scamming him. I'm not gonna defend it, but it is funny that Jerry just kept buying magic potions that didn't work even after he knew they didn't work. But what's really funny is Jerry ended up, like, really growing out of his shell. A bunch of people ended up liking him. And in fact, I think, I don't know this for certain because I wasn't best friends with the dude, but he was really good at baseball in high school, and I'm pretty sure he ended up getting like a scholarship to play in college. So, you know, it ended up working out for him, I guess. I'm not sure if he's too thrilled about the fact that he thought he was invisible in elementary school and tried to fight someone. But hey, I guess maybe he took a steroid potion to make him great at baseball and that one ended up working out for him. What would be really interesting if somehow he ends up going to like the major league and making a bunch of money, because, you know, $10 a potion was a lot of money in 4th grade, but imagine they get back in touch and he ends up selling this dude like $60 million potions if he gets a fat contract. That's where the real money comes in, baby, the Bernie Madoff of magic. Overall, I would recommend just keeping in the back of your mind that magic potions don't work, and if they did work, they definitely wouldn't be being sold for $20. And also, if you are gonna have an invisibility potion, just don't smack someone, because I mean, hey, I guess I can't tell you what to do, but that person's gonna be like freaked out forever if they end up having to fight a ghost. Oh, and if someone does scam you for a magic potion, don't buy another one. I guess that's another moral of the story. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for the video. If you enjoyed, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. In fact, I'm gonna count to 3. If you don't press the like button by the end of those 3 seconds, then no joke, no scam. You're gonna get a real invisibility potion and it's gonna last forever and no one will literally ever be able to see you again. So just press the like button. 1, 2, 3, good. I counted quick. Hopefully you got it. If not, good luck being invisible. And if you're still watching, if you could comment the word magic down below, it just helps the video hit recommended and I get more views, and I like views, I'm not gonna lie. Beyond that, I do post these story times on Spotify in the audio format, so if you want to listen without gameplay offline, whatever floats your boat, a link can be found down below in the description. And on top of that, I've made a new playlist of some of my favorite videos from this year, which can also be found down there. So if you need something to listen to while you're doing your homework or like playing video games or whatever, don't want to have to keep clicking on videos, check out that playlist. I would greatly appreciate it. But on that note, that is everything that I have to plug, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see each and every single one of you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. I'm gonna go make some invisibility potions and sell them.